troubled mind, confessions of a doubtful soul. The weight of my past presses heavily upon me, a constant companion that whispers doubts and fears into my ear. I find myself at a crossroads, outwardly successful but inwardly tormented by a lingering emptiness and a deep-seated distrust that colors every interaction. I am compelled to document this journey, hoping that by unraveling the tangled threads of my past, I might find a path towards healing and wholeness. The roots of my trauma. From a young age, seemingly insignificant betrayals and lies carved deep wounds into my psyche. One early memory remains etched in my mind: the time my family, excluding my working father, prepared for a trip. Initially left behind, my childish excitement soared when they changed their minds and included me. However, their laughter as I chased after their departing car revealed the truth. It was a cruel prank. This incident, along with countless broken promises that followed, sowed the seeds of distrust that have taken root deep within me. As I grew older, disappointments from unreliable classmates further fueled my skepticism. I retreated into a world of solitary achievement, excelling in academics but always feeling the pressure of unrealistic expectations. Even my accomplishments felt tarnished by the perceived mockery in my parents' praise. I was an introverted child, drawn to art and quiet pursuits, which made me a target for teasing and bullying. Questions about my sexuality and jokes about my gentle nature created a rift between me and my family. I withdrew further, underperforming to avoid unwanted attention. The bullying extended beyond the schoolyard. At home, I faced continued mockery from my family. My parents, perhaps in a misguided attempt to toughen me up, forced me to participate in a beauty pageant, an experience I sabotaged to avoid the spotlight. As the youngest child, I was often burdened with chores and excluded from my siblings' activities. My oldest brother, who I mistook for an uncle in my early years, felt like a distant figure. The few moments we shared, playing games or watching movies, became my sanctuary, a fleeting escape from the isolation I felt within my own family. These early experiences, both big and small, have shaped my worldview and continue to influence my relationships and behaviors. High school heartache and the cycle of distrust. High school offered a new beginning, a chance to blend in with the intelligent crowd in the science section. For a while, I enjoyed a sense of normalcy, free from the unwanted attention that had plagued me before. However, as time went on, expectations and attention resurfaced. Teachers labeled me a late bloomer, oblivious to my desire for anonymity. They pressured me to participate in pageants and other activities, despite my lack of interest and confidence in my appearance. To shield myself from this unwanted attention, I deliberately downplayed my abilities and actively discouraged recognition. This pattern of self-sabotage became my shield against the weight of expectations. During this time, I experienced my first heartbreak when a budding romance ended abruptly due to a school transfer. The girl, the only person I felt I could trust, had promised to wait for my return. However, months later, I discovered she had moved on with someone else, shattering the fragile trust one had placed in her. Years later, I found myself drawn to another girl. Fear of rejection held me back from expressing my feelings, and we remained friends. In a moment of insecurity, I impulsively severed our connection, a decision I deeply regret, especially as she continued to reach out with kindness and understanding. These experiences cemented my belief that trust was a fragile and fleeting thing. I felt trapped in a cycle of distrust and self-sabotage, unable to break free from the fear of vulnerability and potential pain. The ghost of my past continued to haunt me, shaping my present interactions and relationships. The lingering pain. College provided a fresh start, a chance to reinvent myself amongst strangers. I embraced this new beginning with a carefree facade I had honed over the years, using humor and nonchalance to mask the underlying pain. Despite my lackadaisical approach to academics, I managed to pass my classes and attend when it mattered. My easygoing nature even led to leadership positions, roles I didn't take seriously, mirroring my own experiences of being overlooked and undervalued. I finally mustered the courage to confess my feelings to the friend I had ghosted in high school, only to discover she was in a committed relationship. It was a poignant reminder of missed opportunities and the lingering pain of regret. Then, a family feud erupted, further fracturing my already strained relationships. The emotional distance between me and my family grew wider, leaving me feeling isolated and alone. Amidst this turmoil, I unexpectedly found myself in a relationship with my high school crush. She was kind and loving, while I remained a tangled mess of insecurities and unresolved trauma. Fearful of hurting her, I kept my inner demons hidden, choosing to suffer in silence rather than burden her with my truth. I tried to overcome the pain of past betrayals on my own, but it was a futile endeavor. The wounds were too deep, the scars too fresh. After 4 years, the relationship crumbled under the weight of my unspoken burdens. I had betrayed her trust and love, and the guilt consumed me. In a desperate attempt to escape the pain, I hastily entered another relationship, a rebound with someone I barely knew. This new connection, however, proved to be fraught with difficulties and ultimately unfulfilling. It became clear that I was repeating old patterns, seeking temporary solace in external validation rather than confronting the root of my issues. I realized that I was a man built on a foundation of lies and doubt, incapable of forming genuine connections. The weight of my past betrayals haunted me, leaving me feeling lost and alone. The continuing trauma. Determined to change, I committed to my current relationship with renewed resolve. I was driven by a sense of responsibility and a deep fear of repeating past mistakes. The guilt from my previous relationship gnawed at me, a constant reminder of my capacity for hurt. Terrified of pushing her away, I kept my lingering pain hidden, choosing to deal with it alone. This was a misguided attempt at self-preservation, as my commitment to change was half-hearted and overshadowed by fear. Then, the unthinkable happened. I discovered she had lied to me. I had always believed she would lie for me, not to me. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had deceived myself into believing in an idealized version of her, ignoring the red flags that signaled a different reality. When she broke up with me, I desperately tried to win her back, but my efforts were in vain. The trauma of the breakup compounded the existing wounds, and I struggled to let go. Months later, she reached out, offering a second chance. It felt different this time, but the changes were superficial. She hadn't truly changed, and I found myself trapped in the same toxic cycle. I ended the relationship once again, focusing on my physical and mental health. Despite my efforts, our paths crossed once more, and we found ourselves back together. She encouraged me to open up, but her methods felt manipulative and insincere. Still, I clung to the hope that things could be different, that I could finally heal and find lasting love. However, the deep-seated patterns of distrust and self-sabotage remained, casting a shadow over our future. The present unrest. I have achieved many of my goals. I have a fulfilling career, I am eating well, and my physical health is good. Yet, a persistent sense of emptiness lingers, making each day a struggle. Despite my efforts to silence the doubts, I find it increasingly difficult to trust my partner. The suspicion that she may be lying haunts me, creating a constant undercurrent of unease. I have tried to be a better partner, a better person, but the desired results remain elusive. Years of personal growth have not erased the deep-seated patterns of distrust and isolation. I still find myself questioning the motives of others, preferring solitude to the vulnerability of relying on them. This lingering unease, this constant questioning of trust and connection, leaves me feeling unfulfilled. Despite the external trappings of success and well-being, a fundamental piece of the puzzle seems to be missing. A plea for help. I share my story in the hope that someone, somewhere, might understand my struggle. Perhaps there is a way to heal these wounds, to overcome this crippling doubt. I yearn for a life where trust is not a luxury but a given, where relationships can flourish without the constant fear of betrayal. I am reaching out, a desperate plea for guidance and understanding.